TOA Fit Body Forever and Fit Body Boot Camp. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Robert Linkul from trainingtheolderadult.com and the Director of Education with Fit Body Boot Camp. We are here today to talk about this cool article that I had one of my colleagues send to me from the Los Angeles Times. It is a featured article on is slow strength training method the fountain of youth? And this LA 90-year-old says absolutely. So let's dive into this here a little bit. If you have any comments, feel free to comment below and share the video, like it out to your friends and colleagues, etc. And let's have ourselves a good chat. Okay, so right away, the first thing I want to showcase is this piece of equipment that this gentleman is lifting on. This is just a traditional selectorized piece of equipment. These are weight stack plates behind him that you move a pin to adjust 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, etc. And he's doing an overhead press, military-esque press going overhead. Now, some of the machines that are going to be referenced in this are something called a pneumatic machine. And pneumatic machines are the more modern version of the old school Cybex Nautilus machines from back in the day that they invented for the astronauts going up into space to make sure their bodies were able to stay, somewhat muscular and bone dense as they went into zero gravity. And they were kind of gas air pressured and would produce a pressure in both directions. You have your isokinetic type stress where you push on something, there's pressure pushing away, and then as you go to pull back, there's pressure coming in that direction. So they're really maximizing their ranges. Every rep, nothing was wasted, more or less. With a selectorized machine like this, you're only utilizing load, concentrically you're pushing it away. The load is still present, but nothing is pulling back. You don't have to overcome anything on the way back down. Simply eccentrically controlling the load back down under control, basically, is what we're looking at. So just kind of keep that in mind as they continue to discuss this as we move further in. The Strength Shop is sponsoring this one, apparently. That's the name of the gym that he trains at. All right, here we go. Slow motion strength training is easier on the joints and connective tissue, which may reduce the risk of injury. So is that true? Is slow motion strength training? So basically we're talking about like a 5x5, 5 seconds on the way up, 5 seconds on the way down. Is that easier on the joints and connective tissue? No, it's not. Any stress is stress. If you're holding load, a heavy load, for 5 seconds on the way up, 1,000, all the way up, 5 seconds up and 5 seconds down, that's actually quite a bit of stress. That's a lot of stress placed through the joint and the connective tissue. But remember, that's what we're here for. Like, this is good stress. You're supposed to be stressing the connective tissue. You're supposed to be stressing the musculature in there. That's the whole idea. The stress is what tests it, breaks it down a little bit, and then it rebuilds a little bit bigger and a little bit better than last time. So this is one of those kind of misconceptions of like, oh, because you're going slower, this is way safer than if you were going fast. I would make the argument that older populations need to learn to manipulate weight at faster paces because that is what develops and or maintains the fast twitch muscle fiber, type 2 fibers, that make you explosive and reactive. So when I step on my own shoelace and I start to fall, or the dog trips me up and I start to fall, I don't have 5 seconds to slowly throw my leg out in front of me and try to catch me before I fall down. I have to step, fall, right? I have to react immediately. So if I'm doing snatches, if I'm doing cleans, if I'm doing sandbell slams or keg tosses, if I'm doing dynamic explosive movements, or even if I'm on that selectorized machine and I'm punching the weight up quick and then controlling it down slow, and then punching the weight up quick and controlling it down slow, any kinesthetic stimulus, even if it's my arms exploding overhead fast, your body, your muscles are a kinetic chain. And the stimulus to react quickly and fire that weight overhead, that is felt throughout the entire body. Now, specifically, it's targeting the shoulders and the upper body, but Even your lower half will benefit from that, even though you're not training it necessarily. You are training your muscular system to contract quickly. That is a transferable skill, high or low. It's a transferable skill throughout your frame. By training really, really slowly like this, and he's going to talk about moving some pretty heavy weight here in just a second. By doing that, you are definitely stressing the bone a lot. And so bone density this is a big win for bone density. And you're going to build some muscle mass for sure. These are all great, but are you going to get explosive? Are you going to get dynamic and be able to prevent yourself from falling down? Not with 5x5s, not with slow motion lifting. So I'm not saying you should do this or shouldn't do that. We're just talking about two different types of training, two different styles that can be featured and utilized even in the same workout. Okay. Because remember, we're not training for Stanley Cup or the Olympic Games where you have like a date where you need to be in peak form. We need to be ready for anything that comes our way here. High intensity workout is just 20 minutes once a week. Okay. When you train once a week, here's what happens. There is value to any and all training. I used to tell people if you only train once a week, the sarcopenic effect can start in 7 to 10 days. And that's if you're completely at bed rest. It starts actually around 3 to 5 days. You start to lose muscle volume. And if you were to lift on Monday and not lift weights again until the following Monday, but you literally just came home and sat down for the next 6.5 days. You didn't move at all. You just went to the bathroom, went to sleep, sat down. That's all you did. Your body would atrophy. And then you would lift again and your body goes, oh, stimulus. Like we're going to try to get strong again. Nope. Just kidding. We're going dormant for another week. And so your ability to like make any kind of progress or even maintain would either go stagnant or really reduce just a little bit every day. But is it better than if you were just like, I'm not going to lift at all? Hell yeah. The day of lifting is actually super beneficial. You could still have great benefit and you'll feel it for 2 to 3 days from that one, Monday workout. You'll feel it until Wednesday, Thursday. Ideally, another session on Thursday would be perfect. It's our most popular split that we do. We have a ton of clients that do Monday, Thursdays. They love the Monday, Thursday split. And then they'll do another workout on Saturday or Sunday online with us. So once a week, okay, it's good, but it's not great. Twice a week would be great. 3 days a week would be completely ideal. And a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever you want to split up, that would be really, really good. High intensity workouts. If you're truly working at a high intensity, it can't last more than 15 to 20 minutes. You're eventually going to fatigue. Your nervous system can only handle so much. Even the best, highest conditioned athletes in the world can't perform at a true high intensity for 15 to 20 minutes without having some deterioration of performance. Now, we're talking about regular everyday folks that are going to be able to try to push really hard. Now, again, I'm using the proper terminology of high intensity work. If you're at rest and then you start to work hard, that is a higher intensity than when you're at rest. So, but what are we talking about in the fitness world? What is high intensity? 80% of your maximum heart rate or more, right? I mean, we're pushing. That's the goal. Seniors swear by this routine, but young people are also catching on to the workout because it is time efficient. All right. So our 92-year-old Delois Alcorn is a 92-year-old and pressing nearly 4 times that in weight in the gym. Let's see, dressed in a t-shirt that read, "Be strong, be resilient, be you." I love it. She slid into, this is a female, right? Delois, male or female? I'm not certain. By his side, gentlemen. Okay, slid into the leg press machine, which was set at a whopping 312 pounds. He grips the handle, closes his eyes, got zen, as he says, and then pressed his legs forward very slowly. Slower, smooth, urged the trainer standing at his side. All right, he's a retired engineer, et cetera, et cetera. All right, as they worked through this, the exercise was just 1 minute and 30 seconds long. And basically, going every 5 seconds, pushing away for 5 seconds, coming back for 5 seconds, because you're moving so slow, but going for a minute to a minute and a half, that is a long time under tension. That's a long time to be pressing. If you're doing 10-second reps, 5 away, 5 back, that's 1 every 10 seconds. So if they go for 90 seconds, how many reps did we get? 9. That's it. 9. You're only getting 9 reps in 90 seconds, but that's a ton of time under tension. Now, I don't care how many reps you do. With 10 seconds, that's something. But again, we're training really slow. Great bone density, great muscle mass. Your heart rate will actually elevate quite a bit working on such intensity. It'll definitely be challenging, and it is a high intensity component from that, as long as you're using enough load to make it that challenging. Now, he can handle that with 312 pounds on the leg press. If you pop on there and you're like, well, I don't want to lift heavy, I'm going to hurt myself. So I'm going to put 40 pounds on here and I'm going to leg press away for 5 and back for 5. And that's nowhere near a maximal effort for you. Meaning after 90 seconds, you're like 9, I can barely do another one. Then you've completely missed everything. No bone density, no muscle mass, no cardiovascular response. It's not high intensity. You did nothing. This is the whole idea of overcoming sarcopenia, is to end under loading. You have to lift a significant amount of weight to challenge your body. So even if you're going to do this slow and you think this is a safer version, you still got to use heavy weight. That's the key. Like that's literally the key to this being so successful and to it working well, is that you're lifting a heavy enough load to make it a challenge for only 9 reps, but it's going to take you 90 seconds to do that. Okay. He says he used to use 400 pounds, but prior to COVID, things backed up a little bit. Okay. Here's Patricia, 88. She's been training for 12 years, calls slow motion training. Let's see. Power of 10 resistance training technique involves lifting very slow and methodically, which 10 seconds is spent on lifting and lowering the weight. So yeah, they're doing 5x5s. Okay. Let's see, slow motion through the golden years. Here we go. Cool equipment that we have in here. I love that it's plate loaded. It's not air pressured. That was, I'm not gonna crap on this company, but there is a style of training out there that you go into the gym. It's the same, 8 to 10 pneumatic machines, air pressured machines in a big circle. And you go in and they have a timer and it goes 30 on, 30 off. And you go to the next one, 30 on, 30 off, and the next one. Everybody's talking, chitty chat, always the same order, always the same pressure. It's boring as shit. There's nothing ever different other than maybe the sound of the buzzer every time you rotate to a new spot. Outside of that though, not a huge challenge. And so they don't produce a whole lot of great results because they're not changing the stimulus really ever. Now they'll encourage, we do a 40-second on, 20-second off. Yes, that is a change of a little bit longer work period, but the load isn't any different. The velocity in which we're lifting isn't any different. Basically, people adapt to that in 1 to 2 workouts, and then what? Now you're just going through the motions. Is it quote unquote better than nothing? Yeah. But you're doing a 10 out of 100 rather than doing a 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I mean, there's so many better ways to do this time efficiently wise. You go in there, you're like, well, I just got to run around the machine. I don't have to think. I can just go in there and crank this out in 20 minutes and I'm done. There's so much better than, and that's actually something that we do offer in TOA is our version of this called Genesis, which is a free weight based versions of what we do, what people do at Curves. And so we get off the machines, we use free weights, but it is stationed and they rotate. Check out our TOA Shingle Springs location is our HQ for that Genesis program. All right, as we continue to talk about this builds up muscle strength and bone density. Absolutely. It's good for cardio-metabolic health. Absolutely, especially for women. Men and women both, but specifically, ladies do need greater demand of focus on bone density, muscle mass as they age, as they're losing estrogen, they're losing testosterone very quickly from basically puberty on, as they kind of finalize, 22 to 25, that age where they're like, we're completely done growing in height and size, etc. Once they get to that point, testosterone slowly starts to fade away. When they become premenopausal, perimenopausal, they are going to have almost all testosterone gone. When they become menopausal, pretty much all testosterone stops, and then they start to lose the majority of the estrogen they have. When they are then postmenopausal, we have no hormonal response. So at that point, you have to lift pretty damn heavy weight to get the bone density response that you want to maintain bone density, let alone increase it and or maintain muscle mass and or increase it. Like, it's really challenging when you don't have testosterone and ladies and estrogen in your system to help you in building this. It's really, really difficult. So you're either going to go to HRT, hormone replacement therapy, talk to your doctor. Don't just do that because I said it. Go buy some, illegal stuff off the streets. Don't do that. Go to your doctor, talk to him about it. And that can definitely aid in your ability to grow muscle mass and increase bone density. But it's because they're going to be giving you estrogen, testosterone, et cetera, to assist you in that. So that's why they place kind of more emphasis on the ladies. Like, this is a big one. But again, you've got to lift heavy. You look at the Lift More studies, a couple of the different studies that Dr. Stacy Sims posts on there, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, they show like you got to work 85, 90% of your 1 rep maximum for sets of 5 or 6. Like, you got to lift heavy and to get that response. And that's quite challenging. You need to learn how to do that and learn how to do it safely. It's really hard. Okay. Let's see. But slow motion strength training in particular is beneficial for older exercisers, people healing injuries, or those who are new to or returning to exercise because the slower cadence and focus is on form. Always with a one-on-one supervision, and reduces the chance of injury. Okay. Always having another set of eyes on you and having a coach there, I definitely feel like is going to reduce your risk of injury. If you're not a seasoned lifter, if you're not experienced, and you can make mistakes that will definitely put you at greater risk. I'm not going to say that you're going to get hurt, but it can put you at greater risk. Okay. So that is true. But if you're returning to exercise and you've been away for a little while, and or if you're brand new, just because the cadence is slower doesn't mean that you're going to have perfect technique, and it doesn't mean that you're reducing your risk of injury. Doing something faster with proper technique and appropriate load, or something slower with proper technique and appropriate load, has exactly the same risk potential. What happens is people will try to move really quickly with too heavy a load and get hurt, or they'll try to lift too slowly with too heavy a load and get hurt. And so it always comes down to technique and appropriate loading. To say that one format of training is more risky or has a higher injury risk or rate is not actually a proper statement, in my opinion, to state. Someone look at certain styles of training and be like, oh, people do that, they get hurt all the time. Well, it's because they're losing their technique. When you look at something like Olympic lifting, Olympic athletes rarely get hurt Olympic lifting. They get super, super strong. They're super mobile. They do a great job. But when you try to do Olympic lifts with pretty heavy load, super, super fast in a room with 30 people with one coach or two coaches, I don't have any eyes on me. No one's checking my technique. I'm trying to hurry. I'm using a load that's probably too much. That would go the same for anything else. Hey, I want you to go swim in this pool that's 100 meters long. You have barely ever you've barely swam 100 meters before, but I want you to go down and back as fast as you can with everybody else swimming in the pool at the same time. Good luck now drowning, okay? Like, that's the situation that you're kind of putting yourself in. And this will go with any other sport. If you try to do too much, too quick, too heavy, too fast, too light, it's all in proper progressions, good technique, and having a good coach there to teach you how to do it. The injury risk is not any higher or lower because you're going slow. Let's get that out of our mind right now. I've had plenty of times lifting up a super heavy bar and tweaked my back or hurt my back, and I was going slow as shit. 550 pounds does not come up off the ground fast. It took me 4 or 5 seconds to lock that thing out, and I hurt myself doing that. So if it's always in the slow cadence of the lift that makes it safer, then we'd all lift slow, but that's not the case. And once again, we are not taxing the type 2 fibers that make us fast, explosive, reactive, that we really need to be, okay, with this specific population. We really need to address that with them. All right, let's continue. As we go down here, they highlight some other individuals, even your 33-year-old TV editor, 20 minutes once a week. I come in on my lunch break. Okay, that's cool. High intensities, training all areas of the body. She says she noticed certain aches and pains in her upper back after a year went away. That means you were getting very deconditioned. You're probably sitting at a TV editor position. You're sitting all day long, not doing a whole lot of activity. So as with anybody who is atrophying and becoming sarcopenic and osteopenic. Your bones are starting to get soft. You're losing muscle mass. To come in and start to resist and strain even once a week for 20 minutes, you're going to start to feel better. I bet you if she came in twice a week for 20 minutes with 3 days in between, she'd feel even better. And eventually progress that to 3 days a week, she'd feel even better, because all those aches and pains are aching and paining because your body is not strong enough to hold the demand of whatever you're putting it through, even if it's simply walking back and forth in the office, okay? Any weight training is great for older individuals, but this routine reduces the risk of injury while still gaining benefits, he says. There's no jerky motions or throwing of weights, and it can increase your circulation. It can increase your circulation? I mean, moving weight is going to increase your circulation. Does he mean like increases like capillary density pressure being forced from the arteries into the veins, into the capillaries and exchanging through the veins? You can increase like my actual circulation. When someone says, I have poor circulation in my hands, they get cold all the time. Yes, resistance training, but any exercise specifically done at a higher intensity will assist in that. But the more valsalvic pressure you kind of put through your body, that's valsalvic pressure. When you do that, you're forcing pressured blood flow through your arteries into that capillary, into the distal ends of your fingers and your feet and your face. That's why your face gets red. That's why your eyes get red. When you're doing that, you're bench pressing, you're deadlifting, your eyes start to get red. That's pressure that's all being pushed out. And it's good. This is very good for you. When you start squirting blood out of your nose like Eddie Hall doing the deadlift and your eyes are beet red and they're bleeding on the side, that's when you've done too much, okay? That's indicator of blood squirting out the nose means you've overdone it just a little bit. There's no jerking motions or throwing of weights. Throwing weights is fun. You just need to do it right. This is how we get explosive. Again, I love the message. I do love the message. Why do we have to do these stereotypical, like, oh, if you're going to move fast, you're going to get hurt? That's such incorrect information to put out. And then someone reads this and they're like, oh, I can't move fast. I can't move fast. What happens when you start to fall? Do you fall slow or fast? Fast, yeah. Then learn to move your body fast. I tripped on a rock this big when I was out rucking this weekend. And after I almost fall and I like stumble, and I catch myself. I'm like, that had to be like a 6 foot deep hole that I just stepped in, right? And I look back and it's like this high of a little hole that I stepped in. And I'm like, oh, geez. You just barely catch your toe. But man, I had to react quick, okay? And because we do fast forward step lunges, drop step lunges, I was able to rescue that and not eat it out there on the asphalt. All right. You get greater blood flow while activating your muscles. Yeah. And so you're adding a cardiovascular benefit to something that's typically anaerobic. Any strength training program. I mean, if you go and lift and do 10 reps of something and measure your heart rate, as long as there's a load on there that makes it a little bit challenging, it's going to increase your heart rate a little bit. Okay. So you're always going to have a aerobic component to this because you're breathing while you're going. The idea is, are you going to be able to push beyond a 50% capacity, which then makes it aerobic versus anaerobic, less than 50%. It's kind of a basic barrier that you can kind of look at. All right, even those other experts are skeptical about this technique. I'm not skeptical at all. I'm just suggesting that we're kind of missing the whole point of the slow part of this. Sets going to failure with long time under tension is a very comfortable, unnecessary, painful workout, said Casey Johnson, author of Lifting Newsletter. She's a beast. It's not necessarily more effective. So much of lifting is about coordination, neuromuscular activity in your body, and stabilization, and that's not present using machines the way it is in free weights. So I do like that. I do like the idea that you're guiding movement on machines where with free weights, you're moving them like you would in real life. I think Casey is suggesting that it's safe to be able to move faster and slower and vary tensions and such, and that maybe it's being misrepresented a little bit. I think we're on the same page here in the discussion that, it's not just always going to be safer or you're going to, be able to check all the boxes that you want with this one thing. There is no one size fits all. There is no magic pill that does it all. You've got to use pieces of all this: faster lifting, slower lifting, mobility, flexibility, yoga, some Tai Chi, some pickleball, some rucking, some lifting, some sleeping, some eating, some drinking. All this is important to helping us, master this thing of activity and aging well, okay, as we go through. All right. Slow motion specialization. Hughes said add an 2012 so train. What else did we want to address on here? I had one other thing on here. The temperature is set at a chilly 68 to 70 degrees because her body heat rises with such strenuous exertion. There are typically no group classes offered and no music over the loudspeakers. No more than 2 clients and their trainers are typically allowed in the space at once. I wonder why that is. The environment of the studio is quieter and more intimate than the bustling of a gym. So it's quiet. They don't play music. It's 68 to 70 degrees, which is great. I like a cool gym. That's awesome. It allows your body temperature to rise. I wonder why no music. They just want it to be nice and silent. It's, let's see. It's so absolute attention can be paid to the form and the alignment, says Hughes. Okay, so we don't want any distractions, ranging clients from 12 to 93. I and other trainers who work in this call it the fountain of youth. I completely agree. The stronger you are and the more muscle you have, the longer you will live. 100%. The better quality of life, the more disease you will fight off, the better you will sleep, the better you will perform in life, in the bedroom, and everything else. Resistance training helps. And I make that comment not as a joke, but a lot of our clients get hurt, in performing daily life, but also in their personal life. And this is something that, if you're participating in that, you need to take it serious and make sure I have good flexibility and do I have stamina and do I have all this helps too. The stronger you are and the more blood flow that is increased through your body. It doesn't just stop in your pecs and your glutes, man. It goes everywhere, if you know what I mean. So you want that blood flow to be, assisting in everything that you do. So this is a good thing. Okay. From, let's see, 12 to 93, I and others work the fountain of youth. Okay. We lose muscle and bone density as we age. Yeah. If you train compared to the average individual that age, this is something that can be discussed. And let's see, when you gain or regain muscle mass, you feel younger, your body is more supported. I agree. Okay. Well, I think we've brought this home pretty good. Women get osteoporosis and osteopenia. You get osteopenia first, and then you get osteoporosis and other health-related issues with the changes of your hormones. We addressed all that at the beginning pretty well. Individuals that are really overweight and they have bad hips, when you get stronger, you start to get leaner, your body fat starts to go away. Unfortunately, it looks like her husband passed away and made some changes, losing more than 100 pounds. How about that? Losing more than 100 pounds. That's awesome. Okay. This is, I'm such a fan of this. I love seeing 88-year-old, 96-year-olds. Okay. They've been in there training for 6 years. Very grateful, but also it's exhausting. Yeah, man. I mean, you're 96, dude, and you're in there still lifting weights and kicking ass. It's allowed me to do the things I wouldn't ordinarily be able to do. We just got back from a rigorous trip with the gorillas in Rwanda. There's no way I could have done that if I hadn't been in reasonably decent shape. That's fantastic. That so makes my day. That's exactly why we're doing this. The whole point of lifting is so you can go and do those things. Let's see, losing body fat, right? Okay. And you can't put a price on your health. One of the best lines I remember is, you can, oh man, what was it? You can invest in, damn it, I forget what it was. But basically it was like, either way, whatever your, if you were, it's one of those, if you think you can or think you can't, you're right both ways. It was that kind of thing. Like you can either get busy living or get busy dying. You can either get busy lifting these weights or you're going to accelerate your death process, basically, right? You're going to pay for your sickness either way. You're going to pay for it, with the gym investment and maintain your health and longevity, or you're going to pay by having to go to the hospital and it was something along those lines, right? Either you're going to pay for your health either way. And it was just two ways of looking about it. Training with osteoarthritis, with obesity, with high blood pressure, with GERD, with carpal tunnel, with neuropathy, with, boy, man, you name it. What's the other one? Gout, like all of these things can be improved right here in the weight room. So great article. I'm really happy with it. I love that the message is getting out there to people that Resistance training is of great benefit. I would love to see something talks a little bit more about having some explosive, but hey man, 9 out of 10, I'm giving this article, like it's definitely right there. It's given the best things. You see older people struggling, pushing weights, lifting hard. We're talking 300-400 pounds in this article. That is absolutely amazing. I give 2 thumbs up to the author. You did a great job. I love getting this information out there. And if I didn't, add my little 2 bits here and there, it wouldn't be me, right? I really want that message to get out, and I want everybody to overcome and battle sarcopenia. This is one of those diseases which was, truly classified as a disease in 2016. And you can be diagnosed with having sarcopenia, osteopenia. This is one of those diseases that you do not have to get as you age, right? There's certain things where you're like, well, I'm just older and this is what most older people get. No, you don't. You don't have to accept sarcopenia into your life. You don't have to accept gum disease into your life. You can brush and you can floss and you can take care of your mouth and do a really good job. You don't have to accept that these ailments, these typical aging ailments, are just going to happen because you're getting older. That's not the case. And this is giving you a very good example of that. All right, gang, I'm going to wrap it there. I hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate you all being here and listening today. Comments, questions, feel free to hit me up down below. Let me know what you think, if you enjoyed this, what your thoughts are. Did I hit it right? Did I not? Do we have anything to discuss further? You let me know. Until next time, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia, and we will see you then. Take care.